Nigerians grapple with uncertainty over the challenges that lie ahead as 2024 draws to a close. Tanker fire raises part of Okokomaiko police station in Lagos. Oil marketers project price drop as Warri refinery production resumes. On the foreign scene, court issues arrest warrant for impeached President Yoon. It's the news update on Trust TV. Hello and welcome. I am Aisha Salihu. Thank you so much for joining us. The news in detail. We begin with details from Lagos State. A tanker fire has razed a section of Okokomaiko police station, Lagos State Police Command. The tanker caught fire while discharging diesel into the storage tank of an hotel that shares same fence with the police facility. The incident created stampede as both the staff of the hotel and policemen attached to the station fled from their offices for fear of being trapped in the fire. It was learnt that the fire started from the engine of the truck and that it quickly spread to the storage tank of the vehicle. Witnesses alleged that the fire spread to the police station before any help could come. The witness, Tolulokbe, stated that the truck driver abandoned the truck when the fire escalated beyond what they could manage.
Snap. Snap. Huh? Snap.
In other stories, the Plateau State Youth Council's Mikang local government chapter has inaugurated executive officers for the 4 districts within the area. The event also marked the launch of the Shopding Unity Connect, an initiative aimed at fostering unity and collaboration among the youth of Mikang local government area. The initiative, developed by the Mikang chapter of the Plateau Youth Council, seeks to strengthen ties among the youth while encouraging active participation in community development. The program emphasizes the importance of unity and collective progress, inspired by the belief that working together is essential for sustainable growth. Speaking at the event, the executive chairman of Mikang Local Government Council, Bernard Serpting Alkali, highlighted the importance of youth involvement in promoting peace and development within the community. He reiterated the Council's commitment to inclusive governance and initiatives that align with the aspirations of Mikang's residents.
Until you bring people together, people that does not believe in what you are doing, they might not subscribe to it. But once you bring and you have that unity, you have the same thinking, people will always subscribe to it. So we intend to open our hands of fellowship to more other groups in the years ahead of us.
So what's your advice?
The youth development, they are the strengths of the local government. We are looking forward for a possibility of identifying our exceptional students, mostly from the science background, where we can grant scholarship to them. We also want to see distinguished youth from this locality being sponsored abroad to school if we have the opportunity, so that when they come back, they will also project what they have seen there.
Elsewhere, oil marketers and the Nigerian midstream and downstream petroleum regulatory authorities have said the prices of refined petroleum products are to drop further following the commencement of operations at the Warri Refining and Petrochemicals Company Limited. Dealers in the downstream oil sector said competition in the space would now be stiffer, as domestic refiners would be forced to reduce prices to get buyers. They stated this on Monday following the announcement by the Nigerian National Petroleum Company Limited that the 125,000 barrels per day Warri Refinery in Delta State had commenced operations. NNPCL also announced plans to begin the export of locally refined products to foreign countries in exchange for foreign currency. The development comes barely a month after the commencement of operations at the 60,000 barrels per day Old Port Harcourt Refinery in Rivers State. Meanwhile, Nigeria's crude oil production has surged to 1.8 million barrels per day from barely 1 million barrels per day earlier this year, with a target of hitting 3 million barrels per day by the end of 2025, according to the Minister of State for Petroleum Resources, Heineken Lokwobori. Lokwobori disclosed this during the flag-off ceremony of Operations Delta Sanity 2 at the Nigerian Navy ship Pathfinder in Port Harcourt. The report.
Operation Delta Sanity 2 has been launched by the Minister of State for Petroleum Resources, Oil, Heineken Lokwobori. The operation is a follow-up to the initial Operation Delta Sanity, which has recorded significant successes in checkmating the menace of crude oil theft and other illegalities within the Nigerian maritime environment. Lokwobori, who commended the Navy for the exceptional leadership provided by the Chief of Naval Staff and the successes recorded in the last 1 year. In an interview, expressed his satisfaction with the progress made by the Nigerian Navy in combating crude oil theft and pipeline vandalism.
Development will be able to address that problem, and that will automatically lead to increase the number of barrels that will be produced as a country. That means more money to enable us for our budget, more money for states, federal government, and local governments, more money, for the government of tinubu to be able to finance, the critical infrastructure that we need as a country. So this is very, very fundamental. But Navy can't do it alone. Navy needs the support of other security agencies, including, civilian security, contractors.
The Chief of Naval Staff, Vice Admiral Emmanuel Ogala, said the operation is designed to ensure a secure maritime domain for increased economic activity, in line with President Bola Ahmed Tinubu's agenda for national economic prosperity and poverty eradication.
The reject efforts are hereby reconstituted under Operation Delta Sanity 2 to further restore sanity to oil and gas activities, increase aerial surveillance using our newly acquired air assets and unmanned area vehicles, including armed drones, which are due to join the service.
Earlier in his remark, the flag officer commanding Eastern Naval Command, Rear Admiral Saheed Akinwande, highlighted the operation's remarkable achievement over the past 12 months as the operation yielded significant results, including arrest of 215 suspects, deactivation of 468 illegal refinery sites, and seizure.
The Chief of the Naval Staff expects that with this extension, Operation Delta Sanity 2 would consolidate the gains of Operation Delta Sanity 1 by solidifying the tactical, operational, and strategic gains made so far. It will further weaken and degrade the capabilities of the criminal syndicates to regroup and reorganize.
Vice Admiral Ogala also expressed optimism that Nigeria's oil production target of 2 million barrels per day is achievable by the next year.
In other stories, an Abuja High Court on Monday ordered the release of Bello Bodejo, president of the Mieti Allah Hotel Warri, from the Department of State Service detention. Justice Muhammad Zubairu, in a ruling, described Bodejo's detention since December 9 after his arrest and without being charged to court as unlawful. Justice Zubairu made the order following an application for the order of habeas corpus subjuncendum moved against the respondents by Bodejo's lawyer Reuben Atabo, senior advocate of Nigeria. The judge held that the application was meritorious, having not been challenged by the Attorney General of the Federation and the DSS DG, who are first and second respondents. Justice Zubairu, however, said that Bodejo's release from detention is not tantamount to an acquittal. He therefore ordered Atabo, who appeared for him, to ensure that Bodejo is produced before the respondents should there be any reason to file charges against him. And to security matters, gunmen have abducted 2 pastors of the Church of the Brethren in Nigeria, better known as Ecclesia Yanwa, Nigeria. The EYN is a church denomination with headquarters in Warri, Adamawa State, and church branches mostly in Adamawa State and the rest of the northeast. The affected pastors were a resident pastor, Reverend James Young of EYC and LCC, and Bela Malibu in Song local government area, and his secretary, Reverend Ishaku Chiwar. The State Police Command indicated Monday that the abduction took place in the night of Sunday, December 29. The command PRO, SP Suleiman Goroje, disclosed that the command had already deployed personnel to rescue the 2 clerics from their abductors. The EYN president, Reverend Daniel Bayer, who also confirmed the abduction, urged security personnel to take immediate action to ensure the safe release of the pastors. Now, the Kaduna State Pilgrims Welfare Agency has commenced the payment of 61,080 to each of the 6,239 pilgrims who performed Hajj through the state in 2023. These refunds were received by the agency from the National Hajj Commission of Nigeria. NAHCON has specifically stated that refunds are due to an interruption in the electricity supply during the pilgrim stay at Muna, which affected the cooling systems and consequently caused inconvenience to the pilgrims. A statement signed by the spokesperson of the agency, Yunusa Muhammad Abdullahi, explained that each pilgrim would receive the sum of 61,000 naira 80, noting that these funds will be disbursed directly into the accounts of the affected pilgrims. The statement called on the affected pilgrims who have not yet submitted their details to approach their local government registration officers for documentation and verification. The details required for verification include passports and bank account details. He said all payments will be transferred directly to the pilgrims' bank accounts to eliminate any discrepancies. The executive chairman of the agency, Malam Salihu S. Abubakar, has urged the registration officers to ensure strict compliance with the requirements for transparency and accountability. You're watching the news update coming to you live from Trust TV studios in the nation's capital. Coming up ahead, Governor Zulum receives flood relief disbursement report, promises transportation relief. More news after the break. We'll be right back. It's nice to have you join us again. Here is a recap of some of our top stories. We told you that Nigerians grapple with uncertainty over the challenges that lie ahead as 2024 draws to a close. You also heard tanker fire raises part of a Kukumaiko police station in Lagos State. To more stories. Nigeria has been forecasted to have a population of 237,527,782 by 2025, increasing from 235,072,214 recorded in December 2024. This is based on the latest United Nations data as estimated by Worldometer, which shows that between 2023 and 2024, the country's population increased by 4,796,533. Nigeria's population is equivalent to 2.85% of the total world population, and the country ranks number 6 in the list of countries and dependencies by population. The data places the most populated cities to be Lagos with 15,388,000 people, Kano 4,910,000 people, Ibadan 3,649,000 people, Abuja 2,690,000 people, and Port Harcourt 2,120,000 people. 53.9% of the population is urban, that is 125,447,884 people in 2024. The population density in Nigeria is 255 per square kilometer, that is 662 people per meter square. And the total land area is 910,770 kilometers square, the report said. Meanwhile, according to United States Census Bureau estimates released Monday, the world population increased by more than 71 million people in 2024. This is a slight slowdown from the 75 million increase witnessed in 2023. The data projected the world population to reach 8.09 billion people on Wednesday, January 1, 2025. Borno State Governor Professor Babagana Zulum has unveiled plans to procure electric vehicles to ease transportation costs for Maiduguri residents while pledging to rehabilitate key infrastructure damaged by the September flood. This announcement came as the Flood Relief Disbursement Committee submitted its final report to the governor at the Borno State Government House. Trustee Beatrice Kuritsi reports on this and more.
The Flood Relief Disbursement Committee convened at the Borno State Government House to present its final report after 4 months of work directed by Governor Zulum. Led by Chairman Engineer Bababukar, the committee disclosed that it had distributed 18 billion naira along with food and non-food relief items to 100,000 and 1,330 households impacted by the disaster. Key allocations included 987 million naira for over 7,000 traders, 313 million naira for 814 religious centers, 213 million naira for more than 200 schools, 89.4 million naira for 1,788 individuals, and 12.5 million naira for 22 private clinics. The committee recommended that the remaining 4.4 billion naira be allocated to infrastructure rehabilitation. Governor Zulum assured the public that the recommendations would be implemented and directed the establishment of a permanent disaster response office within the State Emergency Management Agency, SEMA.
I also want to comment on your recommendations. You have made about 5 solid recommendations, and I want to assure you that government will implement your recommendations. One of the most important recommendations that this particular committee did is that of the establishment of permanent disaster response structure within the State Emergency Management Agency. Inshallah, we shall do so.
Your Excellency, we are grateful for the overwhelming support we received from the federal and state governments, organizations, individuals, and corporate entities. The donation we received in cash total 28,224,364,263 naira 34 kobo. This includes the 10 billion donated by the Borno State government.
In a separate event, Governor Zulum commissioned the remodeled Borno State Hotel in Maiduguri, featuring a state-of-the-art conference hall, luxury suites, and a restaurant serving local and international cuisines. The governor, visibly impressed, highlighted the project's potential to drive economic growth, create jobs, and generate revenue for the state.
I want to see how, within the remaining period of my time as the governor of Borno State, to invest in the private sector that will yield more dividend to the government of Borno State. On this note, once again, I want to commend the Borno Investment Company. I want to commend the MD particularly and his team, and most especially those that recently joined him, especially the chairman and his members. We shall support them.
The governor also revealed that rehabilitation work on the Maiduguri International Hotel is underway as part of efforts to boost the state's revenue. Bitrus Kuruti, Trust TV News, Maiduguri.
And now to developments in business. Riding on the back of domestic borrowings by the federal government from the private sector, Nigeria's broad money supply increased by 51% year-on-year to 108.96 trillion naira in November 2024. According to the Central Bank of Nigeria's Money and Credit Statistics data released on Monday, the increase was from 72.03 trillion naira in the corresponding period of 2023. Broad money supply represents cash and demand deposits, as well as savings deposits, money market deposits, and time deposits. According to the report, the M2 recorded a 6-month increase since April 2024. The trend, however, reversed in October 2024, declining month-on-month by 1.5% to 107.7 trillion naira from 109.4 trillion naira in September 2024, before shooting up again by 1.2% to 108.96 trillion naira in November. The report also showed that the YOY money supply increase followed positive component changes. Quasi-money, including savings, deposits, time deposits, and other near-money assets, also rose marginally. The data showed that quasi-money grew by 1.96% YOY to 72.7 naira from 71.3 trillion naira in November 2023. Similarly, demand deposits increased by 34.4% YOY to 31.6 trillion naira, in November 2024 from 23.2 trillion naira in November 2023. Currency outside banks increased by 50.09% YOY to 4.65 trillion naira in November 2024 from 3.08 trillion naira in November 2023. Naira money also grew massively by 38% YOY to 36.3 trillion naira in November 2024 from 26.3 trillion naira in November 2023. According to the CBN, credit to the government increased by 54% YOY to 39.6 trillion naira in November 2024 from 25.7 trillion naira in November 2023. On the other hand, credit to the private sector rose YOY by 27% to 75.96 trillion naira in November 2024 from 59.7 trillion naira in November 2023. On the foreign scene, a South Korean court on Tuesday issued an arrest warrant for suspended President Yoon Suk-yeol. The Yonhap news agency reported the Corruption Investigation Office is investigating Yoon for unexpectedly imposing martial law on December 3. The office applied for an arrest warrant on Monday after Yoon ignored 3 summons to appear for questioning. Yoon is the first sitting South Korean president to face an arrest, according to Yonhap. Christmas in Norway is filled with warmth and wonder. Once Yoon has been taken into custody, the office has 48 hours to decide whether to apply for an additional warrant to detain him for longer or release him, Yonhap reported. However, the Presidential Security Service has blocked investigators from entering the presidential office compound and used official residence to carry out court-approved searches, citing military security concerns. Yoon's botched attempt to institute martial law shocked the nation, but was rescinded just hours later following massive public resistance. South Korea has been in a political crisis ever since. The National Assembly voted to impeach Yoon on December 14, and the Constitutional Court has launched the relevant proceedings to take a final decision on whether the Assembly's vote is constitutional or not. Very well, so that's about it on the news update on Trust TV at this moment. Remember, you can always follow us across all of our social media platforms and also join our YouTube live stream for more news, programs and documentary. I am Aisha Salihu. Thank you so much for watching. Join us again.